Downtime in the ring.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Downtime in the Ring. This week, we have a very special guest who is trying to do something very, very important to actually one of the brands that we support. Mental health, of course. As you guys see us with hashtag tag me in, we have a gentleman here who later on in the show, we will get into what he is trying to do for mental health and for wrestling himself. We are graced today with Dylan Quinn.
How's it going, man? Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here, man. So, for people who don't exactly know how you got into the business, can you give us a little bit of your backstory?
Of course. So, my journey started at the very age of 13 years old, going to a lot of the local independent shows around here in Pennsylvania. Started with WXWC4, which is an off-brand of the WXW Florida, which is Samoan ran. And then from there, just started going anywhere and everywhere that I could as a kid. And then, it took a little bit of a break after, I turned 15, 16. You know how it goes when you turn 16, you want to do other things, not focus on your dreams. So, I was focused on the college life for a little bit. And then at the age of 18, I decided to get back into pro wrestling and started training at the Wild Samoan Training Center out here in Pennsylvania under Samu Anawahi. And then from there, I became a referee, and I've been doing that since 2016. And man, it's just been a fun journey since.
As of this recording, we've lost Sika, I believe, a month, but when this recording comes out here in a few weeks, it'll be a little bit longer, especially with Sika's, his recent passing, and the students and the people who have associated themselves with each of these schools. You guys are basically part of the family. Is from what I've gotten to learn from past students, is you guys, even though you guys leave and go off and do your own things, you guys never truly are away from them or detached.
Anybody that knows me, there was a joke that used to go around here in Pennsylvania. They used to say that I was the first honorary Oos.
Hey, dude.
But hey, man, and I used to say, you know what? No, there's a long lineage of us that, stay true to the Samoans no matter which one it is. We stay true to them, and we got adopted into the family of some sort. And I take pride in that, man. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm, just as caring as a Samoan. I treat everybody with respect, and I treat them as if they're family. And that's something that was taught to me by the Samoans. So all the life lessons from them, not just wrestling, but in ring, man, I take pride in that. And like you said, it's a shame we lost Sika recently, and Pops has been battling off a senior. He's been battling with his health issues, and it's sad to see, but he keeps kicking out. So hopefully.
Yes. How did you decide that you wanted to be a ref? Did you normally, this story would go as like either you, and I'm just gonna assume, correct me if I'm wrong, that maybe you got injured or something, because that's at least from what I've gotten to talk to people about, is that wrestling was the first part of they wanted to do. And same for me. I want my match. I'm still training. Took some time away, but I'm gonna hit it back because I'm starting to reach that golden age of 27, and I'm like, I need to get in a ring at least once and have a full match before I hit my 30s. So how did reffing become a thing?
So yeah, man, like you said, you hit it right on the nail. Injury happened. I used to play baseball, and through baseball, I actually severely hurt my shoulder. And then I still tried to train through it, but I got hurt even worse training. So I was like, you know what? Let me try the roughing thing. Let's see how this goes. And Sam had no problem with it. Samu was like, yeah, go ahead, go for it. Let's see what happens. He threw me in the wolves, and ever since then, never looked back. I always did want to have a match. I always did want to wrestle, but more recently, I realized that I'm more valuable as a ref. I've taken pride in my work. So if I never have a match, I never have a match, and if it happens, it happens. But I'm one of those people that believe everything happens for a reason. Me getting hurt worse might have been the best thing to happen to me, because I've been doing pretty well as a referee. So injuring my shoulder, yeah, it sucked, but hey, I'm here now and I'm doing my thing.
Respectfully, you've probably, and I may catch some heat for this from wrestlers, and I'm okay with that. DMs are open always. You respectfully have probably touched more world titles than most wrestlers still going on the indies. And who knows, like, God, who did it? I can't remember. I was seeing this guy, like his dream was to, when he was younger, was to hold the NWA World Heavyweight title, and he ended up being a ref, and he got to do that for an EC3 match, and he was like, I technically reached my dream. It's
Yes.
just, it wasn't mine.
Yeah, so that that's one of those things too. On my Facebook memories recently, like I said earlier, I started with WXWC4 and the Samoans out here in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And recently on my Facebook memories, my first main event my first main event that I ever refed, it was on Service Selection TV, which is a service company out here. We used to be on TV weekly for WXWC4, and I actually was a part of the main event for the WXWC4 title, which was always a title that was like, one day I'm going to hold that title. That's going to be my title. Fortunately, that never happened, but I got to ref a main event, and it was on my birthday too, which was even more better.
Oh, dude, that's dope. You know what? Honestly, I couldn't imagine a better place than to be at setup all day for a birthday present. Is like, oh yeah, you're at a show, and then you're also gonna technically be in the main event too. So,
And that's the thing too. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're just a ref. You don't matter." But man, if they realize how hard we work as referees, man, that I think that stigma would change with a lot of people. Like we're in there. We might be going out there 4 matches straight, 3 matches straight, and it's crazy. But I take pride in it, man. I'm glad that I got into the reffing thing, and I'm glad I'm doing it.
and I think what's crazy too is a lot of people will be like, well, a good ref is a ref that's unseen, and I'm like, that's a fair thing, but also a good ref is somebody that can elevate the match. Also, I mean, you have people who have honorary refs, Red Shoes over in NJPW. I mean, you don't even got to know his name, but you're like, oh yeah, Red Shoes is refereeing this match. Okay, so it means something to that. You had Earl Hebner, who made a little surprise appearance in TNA. You have obviously a little controversial with just, sometimes she marks out too much, but Aubrey Edwards.
Hey.
Like you guys don't get your flowers enough for the amount of stuff that you guys are able to do. And what I like more is that now, with this previous generation of wrestlers, with the wrestlers who are currently in their 30s or starting to be in their 30s, a lot more pride is given to the people that who work backstage, who ref, who do photography, all of that, because that's a big that's starting to be just as important to the show, especially in this, this age of social media. And you guys, being able to kind of control a little bit of how the match is going just in y'all selves, when refing is something that I'm like, oh, this is starting to get cool.
Yeah, man, and like you said, there for a while, man. You know, I never experienced it, but I've been told like back in the olden days, man, refs weren't appreciated as much. Not saying they weren't, but they used to get a lot of slack. Now, like people understand what a referee is now and how what we do in there. We're like the quarterback or the head coach in there. Sometimes we got to communicate with the guys that are in the ring, not pulling the curtain back too much, but hey, a guy gets hurt, the other guy needs to know that. Things like that, man. It's very it's not an easy job. It's not for everybody. But again, I take pride in doing it.
So I love it, especially because here in New Mexico, we're blossoming. We're starting to we have one promotion who is starting to get like a local TV deal, and they've become one of NWA's territories, and we have a couple of other smaller promotions that are trying to come up. So I'm very grateful to be part of this renaissance for New Mexico. And the one thing I love the most too is we have a lot of dedicated fans who will just talk crap to the ref, and I love it because our refs are so professional. Is that something that you're like, oh, this is going to be a fun show?
Oh, I love it. I love when the fans give it to me, and sometimes I'll give it back too. Like, when depending on where we are, depending on the type of crowd, I don't do it every match or every show, but sometimes, if I know the fans and I know how they'll react, sometimes I'll give it back to them.
I love that. I love it when everybody plays with the fans. I'm like, man, this is great.
Yeah, like I work for a promotion out here called Smash Master Wrestling, and that's by far one of the most rowdiest crowds that I work with. And there's been a few times there that they're like, "Oh, this is what do you mean? Why aren't you enlisting the rules? Why aren't you enforcing the rules?" And I'm like, "Hey man, this is no DQ match. There's nothing I can do." Also, no pun intended with the initials.
Dude, I didn't even think of that. That's funny. Reffing, because I think that's something too that people don't understand, is that the same way that these indie guys are going, and everybody's dream is to get that golden contract. I feel like for you guys, it's a little bit more doable than for like somebody like me. I mean, other than the social media stuff, I still need to go back to train. So like, is that something that you're also trying to pursue, that you're still sending out your tape to other places just to be like, yo, I would love to ref a dark match? I'm just saying.
So for me, it's just time and place. If it does come my way, it comes my way. But I'm the mindset, right now that, if I don't make it, but people that I help made it, that's more important to me. Because as a referee, it is a little bit harder to get there. Because with WWE, there's certain weight restrictions, there's certain height restrictions, and I'm a little bit on the taller side. When other places are like that too. In AEW, they do have a lot of referees on their on their staff. TNA has kind of been one of my places that I do want to try and strive to get to. That would be amazing if I did get there. And New Japan has always been one of my places that I'm like, man, if I get to Japan, I would love that.
How tall are you?
5'11".
That's a height thing for
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
So what? I'm
Yeah.
5'9", so it's like we're up to Drew McIntyre's beard. I feel like it's fine, but okay.
Yeah, no, it's one of those weird things, man. That WWE, well, this is the past. I don't know if it's ever changed, but I know WWE has always been like sticklers on not having a ref taller than their guys. um, and obviously they've went with the smaller roster. Not everybody's 6'5", 6'6". It just depends. But yeah, man, that's something I have heard is WWE is very strict on how tall a ref is.
That sounds like that's the ideology of a man that will not be named, who goes, well, of course, pal, we got to have the refs smaller. We got to make these guys look big. So I feel like that's where that idea came from.
Probably,
So let's get into why I'm so excited to interview you. Especially because you announced that you're trying to put on, this is your first show. That's what you said that you're trying to do.
Yeah, so this will be my first ever professional wrestling show that I'm running by myself. This is gonna be my first one, man.
Wow. Well, for one, congratulations. Two, how does it feel? Like you're the promoter, correct?
Yes, I'm the promoter. I'm everything.
Why are you putting on this show?
Well, for anybody that might know or might not know, the main reason why I'm running my first show, which is going to be under Phantom 6 Wrestling, it's going to be in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and it's going to be a suicide prevention benefit show. And the reason why I'm doing this show is I personally lost my own mother to suicide at a very young age. I was 13 when I lost her, and I've also lost a few friends to it. And suicide is something, mental health, suicide, whatever you may want to call it. It's not talked about as much as it should be. And honestly, I've said this, and I'll keep saying it. There's never been something done like this in professional wrestling. So I'm mixing, my love with wrestling on top of my love of trying to get more eyes on mental health issues, and mixing it all in. And this is very important to me. Like I said, I lost my mother to it. And I don't want people to see, like, while we're not in this fight alone, there's people that actually care about us. Just trying to be a difference, be a change as much as possible. And I want that to happen. And if it goes successful, which I very well believe that this will be a successful event, I'm gonna make this a yearly thing. We're gonna make it a yearly thing. It's gonna be called All In Together. I'm not gonna change the name at all, because I feel like that's a great name for something like this. I'm gonna make this a yearly event.
So for one, that's awesome. Two, a lot of people won't know this about me. I think which is crazy because I never posted this when I did lose my buddy. I lost a good friend of mine a few months ago. He lost the battle, and it hit me a lot harder than I thought anything would, because of the fact that I understand, as you know, and it's something that men are still trying to get through in particular right now, is the fact that we can't really show our emotions. And I wish that that was not true. I wish that it would be more of a stigma that we can. So you have our full endorsement, brother. Whatever you need us to push for you, we will, because this is something important, and I wish that more people would talk about it.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that, man. And that's the thing, man. It's, like you said, as men, we're taught, oh, you can't cry, you can't let out your emotions. But you know what? That's bullshit. It's part of my language, but that's how I feel, man. Let out your emotions, and don't be afraid if you're going through mental health issues. At the end of this, I'll make sure to plug my social medias. Please reach out to me. I'm sure Donovan here would be open to answering his fans. You're not in this fight alone. Reach out if you're going through something, no matter what it is. A terrible breakup, life at home, whatever the case may be, we also deal with mental illness. Nobody's perfect in this world, and if you were perfect, you'd be making millions and millions and millions of dollars. So, even again, even with that, the richest of richest people, they deal with their mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something that needs to be discussed more, but unfortunately not everybody looks at it as a positive. There's going to be people that are like, oh, mental health, that nobody cares. But now it is becoming more popularized when people are discussing it and talking about it and talking about their struggles. And that's why with this, professional wrestlers, everybody looks at them as superheroes and all kinds of things. This is that platform that people are going to be like, oh, okay, maybe they are going through their own issues. Like I said, because professional wrestlers, they go through a lot as well. Everybody sees them as these superheroes, but at the end of the day, they have their life issues as well. They're away from family. They're missing events. They're missing, graduations, all that stuff. So like I said earlier, I'm just trying to be the change, man. I want to make this event mean something. Um, and with people like you supporting it, and there's been a lot of support for it, and it's amazing to see. I have people messaging me that are like, oh man, how can I help? It's been great to see, because when I first started this, I was like, man, nobody's gonna back it. Everybody's gonna be like, oh, this is a funny idea, this is terrible, you're not gonna succeed with it. And that's something I've dealt with. I've always been my own worst enemy. um, but now seeing the support of it, I'm like, you know what, this means something. I got to do this.
So what made you, though? Like, there had to be, before you were like, yeah, I got to do this. Yeah, there had to been just something, one particular day where you woke up and you were like, I'm going to put on a benefit show for suicide prevention.
Yeah. So, man, I've been playing with this idea for about 4 years now. I've been playing with it. I've been like, oh, I'm going to do it. Never did it. Last year, Like I discussed earlier, Smash Master Wrestling. There's a great group of guys there. We were sitting in an after party, and I'm like, "Hey guys, I have this idea. What do you think? I want to do the suicide prevention show. What do you think? Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea?" Everybody at Smash was like, "No, do it. This needs to happen. Do it." And then also a few weeks later, I went to back promotion out here with Alpha Junior, who's also part of the Samoan family, also known as Manu in WWE formerly. Um, Went there. I was like, hey, what do you think about this idea? They backed it. So I was like, you know what? I have to do this now. And then, like I said, last year, around the holidays, I get very bad depression and, you know, with losing my mother. Um, Last year, I was like, you know what? Why don't you honor your own mother with doing a show for her? And that's why I'm doing this, man. You know, just not this event's not for me. You know, this event's for my mom and people, you know, that I've lost to it. And man, I'm gonna make sure that this, like I said earlier, that I'm gonna make sure this is a success.
It seems like it's already going to, and I'm super excited to see. Well, for one, I want to see the poster. Two, I want to help out as much as I can. Three, like we will push this however we can because this is gonna be dope. I have a lot of respect for this. So um even my co-host who couldn't be here for this episode, we just came back from a show in Odessa, Texas, and it's run by people around our age. And he looked at me and he's like, you know, I'm gonna, because we were joking with them, and I was like, man, it is hectic, you know, running a promotion, because they're the one of them is 1 year older than me. And he goes, you have no idea. And my brother, who's 2 years older than me, looks at me and he goes, this is the kind of stuff we're gonna have to prepare for when you want to start your own show. And I was like, I laughed at the idea, and I was like, you know, that would be something cool for the future. So to see somebody who's putting on their very first show, how much stress is this?
Oh, it's been very stressful. Not so much with the finding the talent, not so much with that. It's just been the small things that has been stressful. Things that people don't think about that go into a show, such as finding chairs, like a chair rental place. Uh, and funny, I've been saying, you know, as a referee, I'm struggling to find referees for my own show because I refuse to ref on my own show.
Yeah.
Um, I might do like one match and that's it, but I refuse to do multiple matches on that day just because, you know, I want to talk to the people that are there. I want to make sure they're having a good time. You know, be in the back, be present, you know, tell the guys, hey, this is what I expect from you. This is what I want. So the hardest thing has been refs, which is odd for me to say because I thought the refs would be the easiest thing to find. But it's been very stressful. But I told people this is a good stress. You know, it's stressful because I care. If I didn't care, it wouldn't be stressful and it wouldn't mean anything. I know on show day, once it happens, I'm gonna be like relieved. I'm gonna be happy, and I'm gonna be.
So which charity are you support? Like, what is the main charity for this?
So there's a couple out here that I've been in contact with. I will get the name for you. Um, Later on. I just waiting for the one to respond back to me via email. But as soon as I get that back, I will make sure that you get that information, as well as I do have a promo video that is out, so I will make sure that you get that as well.
Oh, cool. I get to add stuff. Yay. Like, I can't tell you how much more that I have respect for you because of this. Not only are you touching a very touchy subject for people when it shouldn't be, but that's just, you know, kind of the way that we normalize it, and we shouldn't. You're combining something that a lot of people love, and a lot of people will go and watch and support, surprisingly. um as much as the indies is growing as of recent, it's a great time to be a fan. You know, when you look back, did you ever think in your life, like, yeah, I've always toyed around with the idea, but did you ever think that you were actually going to just put your foot down and do it?
No, man, because like I said, I'm my own worst enemy. No matter what it comes to, I'm my own worst enemy. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do this because nobody's going to support it. Um, Never thought it was possible, honestly. Like I said, just the people I have around me pushing me, they are the reason why I'm like, all right, I can do this. I know I can do this. Um, and it's so surreal to me that I'm even talking about it on podcast. You know what I mean? Like it's like, wow, this is actually happening for you. Like you're doing this. And again, like I said, this is something that at the end of the day, I know I'm going to be happy with all of this. Especially because, like I said, I lost my own mother to it, and that's something that, not everybody knew about. I started coming out about it more recently. Um, so yeah, man, it's just surreal that I'm able to do something and do something in honor of my mother.
And I want you back here after the show so that we can talk about how successful it was, and we can talk about how much fun you had, because that's usually how it goes. Is the day after, you're like, man, I don't want to think about wrestling, and then the day after that, you're like, man, so when do I plan the next one? Because at least the promoters I've gotten to talk to around here, that's usually how it goes. Is the are you having it on a Saturday or Sunday?
So it is going to be a Sunday. I'm going to make sure that it's a Sunday just because I know a lot of talents are usually booked on Saturdays. Saturday is the day that a lot of the talents are booked. So I was like, let's run a Sunday where I can get a lot more people in. And pretty soon I'm going to start announcing the names that are going to be a part. It's just dealing with a couple of the guys that I do have. They are, under contract. So I can't, just be like, here we go. But there's going to be representation of a couple different companies.
How are you going to try and establish this event? Obviously you haven't announced anybody yet, but we're super excited for that to come out. What are you doing?
So with this, not only is it going to be professional wrestling, we're going to have music as well. It's going to be an all-day event. We're going to make sure that, if you have church in the morning or wherever you may have obligations in the morning, we're going to make sure you can still make the event. The show is going to be starting at 12:30, and then we're going to be doing the secondary show at around 4. And with that, it's just going to be tapped in, promoting as much as possible on the social medias. And with that, just keep your eyes on. Just follow us at Phantom Six Wrestling on Instagram, Phantom Six Wrestling on Facebook. I think I do have an X, but I got to double check that. I know Threads is out there with Phantom Six. I think Twitter was giving me a hard time for making it a secondary page. I think that's what happened. And I was just like, you know what, I'm not dealing with this right now, but I will make sure that there's an X. Just follow us on Phantom Six Wrestling.
So why Phantom 6? Like, what made them the promotion that was going to help you establish this show?
So, like I said earlier, this is my baby. This is my creation, and the reason behind the name of Phantom Six was, there's a local hockey team out here called the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, and also my friend Johnny Bills. He made a song called Phantom City. Now the meaning behind the song was a little bit different. He made the song just because he lost a lot of his friends, and he called Phantom City a ghost city because he lost a lot of his friends to suicide as well or things like that. So Phantom was just that's why, and the 6 is because of the area code 610, and people calling the Lehigh Valley area the 6 side, and obviously pro wrestling. So, that's why I came up with that name. And I think it sounds different. I didn't want to be just another championship wrestling or, uh, pro wrestling. I wanted something to be different, 'cause there's a lot of different names that all rhyme. Phantom Six, that's something new, that's something unique, and that's what's going to be with this company. It's going to be unique, it's going to be different. And I've said this before. People have asked me, "Are you going to run your own, more shows?" And I've said, if I run shows, it has to be for a meaning. It has to be for a reason. I always want to make sure that there's a charity behind it, just because, that's something that I take pride in. Um, and if it's going to be suicide and things like that always. I don't want to just run a show to run a show. I want to make sure that there's a meaning behind this.
I respect that. So one thing that I want to go away from real quick from not technically from the wrestling, but I always do this courtesy to TZ because he sets these things up. How do you know our Podfather?
Oh man, so Teasy, man, I met him through Swerve Strickland. I remember him, like, hearing his music through Swerve. And then through there, man, I messaged Teasy and I started sharing his music online and things like that. And he was always supportive of it. He was actually one of the first people to support my dream of starting the train at the Wild Samoans as well. He was like, go do it. Be with the Samoans. Um, Unfortunately, me and him have yet to meet in person. It's always been an online social media exchange. But man, Teasy's been my guy, man. I have his shirts. I have his theme song King shirts from the very beginning. That's my guy, man. And hearing his music on AEW, hearing his music on TNA, man, all over. It's just like, wow. Next up, we got to get him a theme song on WWE. I need.
It's cool. It's that you are the second person back to back that we've had where TZ's hooked us up that have not met him in person. Me too. I have not, but since he is my mentor for the podcast and he's been helping us grow, means that I have to start traveling farther than where I've been going.
Hey, man.
So
maybe I could try and convince him to get up here in September. Maybe we can make it work that you get up here in September, and that's how we all meet.
that would be cool. Like I mean, I am because you mentioned football before we started this. I am a Cowboys fan, so I don't want to go anywhere near Pennsylvania, but I would do it. I would do it for I'd do it to hang out with y'all, but I'm like, I don't want to go near Philly and I don't want to go near Pittsburgh.
Don't worry. So one of the guys that is going to be at the show and is going to do a thing on the show, he's actually a Cowboys fan. So don't worry, you won't be alone. I can't stand the Cowboys. I'm a Raiders fan, so
You're all the way across the country, dude, from your team. At like, wow.
Yeah, man. You know what? When it comes to sports, I'm a mutt. I like teams from different areas. I'm not a Pennsylvania boy. Like I said, I'm a Raiders fan for football, Bulls fan for basketball, baseball, Yankees, and hockey, Flyers. So I'm all over the place.
Oh man, I thought I had like a unique combination, but that's just like everything anti Pennsylvania at that point.
Other than the Flyers, that's the only PA team I rep is the Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh my god, man. That's no. So it's even like with CZW, man. Like, we have to go work with them or we get to go work with them. And I'm like, I'm cool doing, the Baltimore stuff, but I don't want to do the Philly stuff because it's Philly.
Believe it or not, like over the course of Mania week, man, like granted, there's people from all over that are at Mania, but when I was at Mania, man, there was people from Pennsylvania that are like, "Oh, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan," and I'm like, "What? Like, you're supposed to hate them?" But you know what? I think that's the thing with this generation now. No matter what team you support, you're gonna find somebody in that a different country.
Yeah.
Town that supports them or city or state. Like I said, though, there's a lot of Cowboys fans out this way. Now, unfortunately, where the show is right next door is the Philadelphia Eagles bar. But they're not too crazy about it, so we'll be all right.
Yeah. Oh man. So what you have yet to say, you've given me the company that is going to support it. You've given me the name of the show, which I love, All In Together. You have not given me the day of the show.
All right. So that is going to be Sunday, September 8th. And the location for it is going to be Country Club Brewing in Bethlehem, PA. If you just look up Country Club Brewing, it will pop up right away for you on your GPS. And that's going to be, like I said, outdoors. It's going to be an outdoor show.
I like it. I like it. It's next to a brewery. So my first I had worked, or I had helped work promotions in Texas before I started helping here in New Mexico because we weren't thriving. And this was before the pandemic. And then my first show actually working in New Mexico, helping out, paying my dues for some of those people that need to be smartened up to the business, was out at a brewery too. And I was like, man, this is cool. Like,
Yeah.
I understand why people like this.
There's nothing like it, man. You know, you mix beer and wrestling and music. Oh my god, it's a great time. And I think there was a thing that I saw recently that they're making music and wrestling, if it's at a brewery, like a subculture of like pop punk or something like that. There was an article about it. I'll see if I can find it and I'll send that to you. But man, I was like crazy to think.
That was also the first show I took my girlfriend to. That was her first ever show, and she was like, "Is it always like this?" And I was like, "No, this is a one-off. This is cool."
That's the thing, right? You start her off, so you're like, "Oh man, you're going to a great show tonight," and then she's like, "Is this what we're gonna get from now on?" And then you take her to that one bad show, and she's gonna be like, "I don't want to come back ever again."
The cool part is she's starting to pay her dues in the business too. She doesn't want to wrestle, but she does love helping with everything else. So she's a good hand to have, even though I was like, oh, the lights and this area just being completely sold out. Yeah, we're not gonna get that for a while.
Yeah,
That's just wrestling.
Yeah, man, and that's the thing too on the smaller scale. Not every show is gonna be sold out, and that's the thing. People were like, oh, they see the glitz, they see the glamour, and then they see those 10 people in the crowd, and they're like, oh, this is what I signed up for. But I tell people all the time, appreciate those 10 people while you have them, because those people, some of them will become your biggest fans, and when you make it to the bigger scale and bigger scene, they're gonna be the first ones to buy your T-shirts because they're like, I made a connection with that guy.
Or you're gonna be like, yeah, doing an interview and be like, yeah, I remember this fan. He really helped me when I did not believe in myself.
Exactly. And I've had my fair share of fans, man, just being a referee that are like, "You're my favorite ref. You're amazing at what you do," and I'm like, "I ain't shit." You know what I mean? Like, but it means a lot to me, and I appreciate the fans. The fans are what we get to do. Why we get to do what we do, and it's amazing.
So as we begin to wind down, let us know your socials once again so that we can all go and support this amazing show that you're trying to put on.
Of course, man. So for the Phantom 6 side of things, it's going to be Phantom 6 Wrestling on Instagram, Phantom 6 Wrestling on Facebook. Like I said earlier, I'm going to get the Twitter going soon. And Phantom 6 Wrestling should come up on Threads for you guys as well. And then for me personally, if you guys have any questions about the show or just, need to reach out to somebody and talk about mental health issues or whatever the case may be, I'm very easy. I'm very approachable. Hit me up on Facebook under Dylan Quinn. Instagram is going to be dquinn_97 as well as my ex. And then also, I did forget to plug the pricing on tickets for my show. So for all in together, ticket prices will be $10. But now there's a catch with that. If you come to me or if you come to somebody that is working the table at the ticket booth, if you come to us and say, hey, I'm dealing with mental health issues, I have my issues going on, let us know. We will make sure you get into the door for free. I will not charge you. I will make sure you get in for free and enjoy the show. And we will make sure that, if you need help, we'll make sure to get you help.
I have a lot of respect for that because not a lot of people would have said that. And I do respect that. I really want to go to this show. I just want to see what you guys do. And it's not really watching the product or who's in the ring. I want to see what you guys can do for the fans. And if that makes any sense, because this last show, the one that we worked in Odessa, as of this recording was last weekend. I helped the owner sell collectibles. And I've never done that. I've always either been camera, I've always been stagehand, I've always done that. So I got to actually see from the fans' perspective of how all of this worked. And I was like, I enjoy this part of wrestling too. I'm trying to learn every part of the business. And this is the one where I was like, oh, I never really took into consideration the fans, like how you work with the fans during the show. So I'm very excited to see everything that you guys do put on. I know that this is going to be a success. You have it in your heart. It looks like you have a great team behind you. This isn't going to be the only one that you put on. And I believe that wholeheartedly.
I appreciate that, man. And like I said, I want to make this a yearly thing. And, obviously I want to keep it in Pennsylvania, but, if more places are like, hey, would you like to come and put on a show here in our state? I would gladly do it, because it happens everywhere, it needs to happen more. Like I said, there needs to be something for suicide prevention and things like that in mental health. And I'm taking pride in being one of the first, promotions to do it and one of the first people to do it. It's nerve-wracking, like I said earlier in the show, but at the end of the day, I know it's going to be worth it, especially with people like you that are telling me this is going to be a success. That's all I've heard, and it means a lot to me, and I appreciate you for saying that.
Oh, yeah. And definitely, brother, after the show, whether it be a week or two or something, I need to have you back here, and we need to talk about how successful it was, your feelings of running your first show and how hectic that's going to be, because I already know it's going to be. And that is not jinxing you or anything. I think jinxing you would be saying how well it's going to run, because always those small little things are going to be what messes up.
Of course, man. No, I definitely will jump back on here. Maybe the same week, depending on how hectic life gets at that point. Maybe the same week, so you can get a fresh mind of like, how was it afterwards, But for sure, I will jump back on and talk about it.
I hope you do, brother. So, ladies and gentlemen, if not for this gentleman, or this gentleman, I had to point to the other way. For me, please go follow Phantom 6 on all their socials. Get ready for All In Together, September 8th, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And go and support these people. And I know we have listeners in Pennsylvania because we've interviewed a lot of people from Pennsylvania. So I know we have listeners who better be there. Please don't make me cry. Don't make me feel bad that I brought this amazing person on just for you guys not to go to his show. Go do that for me. And we will see each and every one of you guys in the next video.
Ooh, I'll tell you what, man. Yo, what's going on? It's this most smashing player, Ricky Price, and the Pyro Prince, Junie Underwood. And this tag team thing, turns out it's a pretty good idea because we're pretty good at this. We're pretty smooth. The chemistry's there, baby. The flames are igniting and the people are getting smashed with us. We're smashing and burning,
and burning, baby. And another team, absolutely lighting it up in the wrestling world. They like to talk about the alphabet and say their numbers. They like to say it's as easy as A, B, C, simple as 1, 2, 3. Come on, you have to. But they've never messed with wrestling's favorite non-twins, SN, baby. Smash it.
Okay, so for a second there, you lost me. ABC 1, 2, 3. I thought you were talking about the Jackson 5. Okay. Got it. Ace Austin and Chris Bay. That's what you were talking about. I think we're calling you guys out because on September 8th, we're going to be at Phantom 6 Wrestling, and I heard you guys might be there too. So I'll tell you what. The hottest young tag team right now, and I don't say that, with the puns. I meant it. We challenge you guys.
Yes, sir.
Smash and burn, ABC. What do you got to lose, right? Because on September 8th, when you show up, it's going to be as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3, but we're going to freaking smash
and burn.